Well,
goodbye.
Goodbye, take care. Okay, wonderful. Now, the next bit in our program is an in-depth introduction into the Open Educational Resource Template for the afternoon part. As a reminder to all our attendees, this afternoon part takes place locally and not necessarily today. It really depends on the institution or the university under which you have subscribed to the afternoon workshops. So the stage is yours, Silvia.
Thank you so much, Benedict. I'm just going to share my screen. Let's hope it is working. Can you see my screen? Perfect, that's great. Okay, so my name is Silvia Benini and I'm representing the University of Limerick, but also, of course, the DiCE.Lang consortium. As we're going to look in more details now into let's see if it is working. Yes, the teaching unit template that the DiCE.Lang consortium designed. It is important to say that the teaching unit template, it is a work that it is the result, really, the product of a work that saw different phases. The first phase was the review, really, the research into the frameworks and into the resources that are available, that have been mentioned this morning and mentioned, actually, explained in detail this morning by my colleagues. So specifically, three frameworks were really at the center of the creation of our teaching unit. And the first one being the DigiComp framework, and also the Digital Citizenship Education Handbook, with its three main areas, which, as we saw, are being online, well-being online, and rights online. And of course, the reference framework of competencies for democratic culture. So there was this first phase, which was absolutely essential for the creation of our teaching unit template, but also there was the phase of the huge data collection and analysis that has been done, and the creation of the work in progress framework that has been presented again this morning by my colleague Marta, with the STAR really shape framework with the 5 strands. So as you can see here at the center, you can see what the teaching unit template of the DiCE.Lang project looks like. It is pretty straightforward, so it's easy to implement those activities into the language classes. And so you can see here on the top of the teaching unit template, general information related to the teaching unit. Namely, we do have the title of the teaching unit, the duration of the activity, the category. The category section refer actually to the 5 strands outlined in the STAR framework. So the critical digital literacy and the critical and meta-reflective components, content-oriented perspective, identity-oriented component, and inter and transcultural perspective on digital exchanges. We do have then a section related to the learning outcomes of a teaching unit. And within this section, we do have a subsection related to the product. The product, which is basically the digital artifact that student will be creating after the completion or during the completion of the teaching unit. It is quite interesting because we saw, you know, in the projects and in the keynote speakers' contribution, so Professor Tomé and Professor Olivier, that the digital products, digital artifacts have been quite present, you know, in the project that have been outlined. So I'm thinking about the digital games that have been created in the international project outlined by Professor Tomé. So this is the idea, really, the digital artifact that will be created in each teaching unit that have been designed by the DiCE.Lang consortium. There is a section then related to the resources required for the completion of the teaching unit, and that being online platform that have been selected by the DiCE.Lang team. And those online platforms are all open educational resources, are all free, and that it is absolutely important. There is a section then related to the possible follow-up activities, and a quite big section that you will see then later related to the activity steps. This section basically refers to the instructions educators will have for the completion of the teaching unit. So it's really step-by-step instruction that the educators will have available. And finally, there is a final section related to links that a teaching unit has with another teaching unit available in the OER DiCE.Lang repository. As some of the activities, well, all of the activities, as a matter of fact, can be linked, really, and the teachers can use more than one of these activities to maybe tackle a specific issue or topic. So, okay, this is actually the our working framework with the five strands. And we are going to talk, I want to show you today actually an example of a teaching unit that have been developed, which is in the strand of the critical digital literacy. I won't spend much time now on these because I want to give you an overview about the other strands, and then we'll go back to the CDL activity. So there is an activity that we have selected, which refers to the critical and meta-reflective component strand, which we saw this strand focuses really on the critical thinking skills and the reflecting attitudes that allow learners to become competent users in the digital world. And just to give an example of the activity that the consortium created and designed, the title of this activity, it is Tackling Online Hate Speech. So the idea regarding the learning outcomes of this activity, it is, for example, to address the e-presence and communication. So students will be guided in raising awareness on the online hate speech issue, and they will be educated in creating a climate in the online society where such actions are considered inappropriate. There is a section as another learning outcomes. It focuses on the active participation, and the action was again a key word today. So, for example, for this specific activity, students will be creating a campaign And they will be creating within the campaign a presentation about online hate speech and a short video as part of this campaign. I'm just going to fly through the other example of activities. So within the content orientated perspective strand, an example of the teaching unit that has been designed focuses on the refugee topic and the importance of digital education. Again, when it comes to learning outcomes, we are focusing here on access and inclusion. So raising awareness on the digital and educational gap that affects young refugees. And also another learning outcome focuses on ethics and empathy. And so again, the idea is to guide students in understanding refugee perspectives and while promoting intercultural understanding and tolerance. In this specific teaching unit, the product, the digital artifact that students will be guided in creating, it is organizing an online event, which is a refugee day at school to encourage public awareness and support the refugees with a special focus on education through digital technology. For the identity-oriented component, the type of teaching unit that we want to present briefly today, it focuses on social media and specifically on positive social media accounts. So students will be reflecting and will be learning about inspirational teenagers. And so they will be critically analyzing social media accounts, and this will raise awareness on the impact positive digital environments can have. And at the same time, students will be reflecting on their own social media presence and the positive changes learner can inspire. In this case, the product will be the creation of a collaborative Padlet with students' digital heroes, social media heroes. And then the last section, strand actually, which focuses on inter and transcultural perspective on digital exchanges. The sample teaching unit that we have selected is the Global Peace Path. This is actually a project designed by LMU Munich, University of Munich, and it involves really collaboration between LMU students and participants with refugee status from Munich and surrounding areas. But in this context, of course, it has been expanded outside, you know, Munich. And the idea, it is for participants to write poems on the topic of peace, display those poems locally and online on the Global Peace Path world map, so people all over the world can read them. So this is a project, a teaching unit that involves collaboration, and the idea would be the creation of a multilingual poem. But we are going to look into one of the activity related to the CDL, the Critical Digital Literacy strand, and the activity that we have selected, it is entitled, Are You Digitally Distracted? So this activity focuses on addressing the, on raising awareness on the use of mobile phones among students and how much time students spend on them. So this activity focuses on addressing such issue and to provide, we want to provide practical tips to be integrated in the daily life of the students. So both inside inside class, so within the academic world and outside the academic world, so the study and non-study time. For this activity, students will be, as you can see in the deep, so you will have here all the learning outcomes outlined, the cognitive and affective social element, and I'm just going to fly through the activity steps that are outlined here, all the instructions for teachers to follow in order to implement this activity, which involves the use of a specific app, which is called the Flora app, which is, it's a free app that can be used. I'm using that app quite regularly. It is very good. And yes, so we are starting by a discussion, a brainstorm discussion about the idea of distraction, digital distraction, and then actually students will be guided in the completion of a quiz related to digital distraction, and also then the implementation of the Flora app with the idea finally of creating as a digital product of a downloadable guide with practical tips on how to manage digital distraction and the gains students got after implementing this app in their daily lives. So yes, I'm just going to finish here because I think my time is over, and yes.
Thank you very much for the introduction to the OERs, Silvia. There is in fact one question from the audience. I'll just quickly promote Sandra Gouveia to be on the panel, and you should actually be able to join the panel now. And maybe if you unshare your presentation,
yes,
then
absolutely,
we can see everyone.
Yes, Sandra is already here and she has raised her hand.
Perfect.
I believe, Sandra, that you can speak as you want to.
She's still muted. But I actually allowed the I actually allowed the activation of the microphone. Sandra, you're still muted in case you're talking. Okay, that doesn't work. Maybe you would want to type your question to the Q&A box. That should also work. Right. In the meantime, again, thank you very much to everyone for your contributions. For a great heartfelt thanks goes out to Professor Olivier and Dr. Tomei again for their contributions, for their very insightful and very rewarding presentations. It was absolutely worth the time. Thank you also to the audience for joining us and listening in. And we all hope surely that you've learned something for today, got some inspirations for your practice or for your studies for that matter. And until the question will be in the Q&A box, I would hand over for a few words of thank you to my Boston supervisor, Professor Lütke.
Yeah, hello. So thanks also from my side. So that was really, I mean, not just worth the time, but it was really interesting and inspiring. And a lot of us really feel the drain of, you know, our winter term is coming to a close.
We're having some connection problems, don't we?
Things to do, and I found this impressive. And also thanks for sharing all your partners for, but also else who today. And can you hear me now again?
Now
So
you're
can you hear me
sort of
again?
back on again.
Okay, right. So I don't know what you heard anyway. A big thank you for everyone for joining us here today, to all the consortium partners. And may I just say a big thank you to Benedikt Meininger, who was instrumental in setting things up. And also, of course, as always, you know, some things may go wrong one or the other way, or there may be a technical problem or something that no one can really be responsible of. And you just managed everything so well and organized. So a big thank you to you for doing all this work behind the stage. And so I really like to say thank you, Benedikt Meininger, and thank you everyone here for joining us. Of course, also thank you Isabel Thaler, who is also involved from the Munich part, but I think Benedikt Meininger had one of those more heart attacks to endure in some of the things in preparing everything. But I told you before, everything's going to work out fine, and it really did. So thank you, everyone. And I'm very much looking forward, as all of us do sometime, to the individual workshops or sessions that will ensue, some of us today and in some cases on other days. But anyway, I think we all have a lot of food for thought. Mentioning food, I don't know who's going to be in some kind of lunchtime right now. Others may be hopping into the next Zoom meeting, but all of us now, I think, have so much that we learned from today. So thank you very much here, and let's call it a day. Bye-bye, and see you very. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. I'm going to stay back.
Bye-bye.
And there is still no question in the question box. So maybe Sandra, if you want to just send me an email, and I will forward your question to whoever you wanted to speak to. Thank you very much again, and thank you very much for the words, Professor Lütke, and thank you for the support from all the partners to survive those heart attacks that you mentioned.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Very
Bye.
nice morning.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bibi.
Perhaps you could stop recording. I don't know, Benedikt.
Yeah.